Yo, what is up, guys? We're back with part 3 of What If Naruto Was Toshiro'S Reincarnation. Now, I know I didn't really record yesterday. I actually did record like for an hour yesterday, but let's just say my video got like really horrible. The audio is just trash. But other than that, guys, this is what we're doing part 3 of What If Naruto Was Toshiro'S Reincarnation. Now, in compensation, instead of my usual one video, I'll do 3 or 4. I know already 3 or 4. That's quite interesting. But without further ado, guys, let's get straight into the what if. Now, basically, we come back after Naruto and the rest of Team 7 were recuperating in Tazuna's house. Now, Kakashi would sleep for like a day or two, and Naruto and Sasuke Sakura would be chilling. Now, one night they'd be eating dinner, and Tsunabe's food would be straight buzzing, and they'd be having a great time. Until Inari came over here and basically started talking mad shit, basically saying stuff like, "You're not strong enough to beat Gato, you don't understand what we go through," something along the lines of that. Now, I don't really like One Piece characters, so just like Izukage, I will basically have to put him in his place. Now, Naruto would then use his Ryatsu, just a little bit of it, to basically make himself look intimidating. Not that he isn't intimidating, but he has to show his point one way or another. Naruto then says something about, you don't understand anything and you're just a little kid and you actually never really went on missions or actually went through what he went through. And after this, basically, he would say you just ran Inari. Now, after this, Inari would pretty much, just be debunked, alright, pretty much. And he would just run away or just, like, head out. After this, Naruto would say, I guess I was too harsh, but, he really needed to hear that. Now, after this, he would sit back down, and basically, they would pretty much have fun for the rest of the night. The next day, Naruto, not the next day, but after Naruto would, eat dinner, he would then go outside and train for the rest of the night. Naruto would then train so much that he actually fell asleep out there. He would then wake up to see this woman or man, he doesn't know who it is, basically picking up herbs. He would then help him or her pick up the herbs, and then they would basically start talking. Now, this would actually be like this similar conversation with Haku and Naruto. With Haku telling Naruto that if you protect somebody, then you'll get stronger rather than if you, only fight for yourself. If you fight to protect them, and you'll be stronger. Now, after this, Haku would say that she's actually a male, and Naruto would then have that similar reaction like he did in Kennen. Now, after Naruto would pretty much have the conversation with Haku, he would then head back to the house, where everyone then, finally, oh, Naruto's here, since he was basically missing all night. After this, Team 7 would pretty much start their training for the next week. Naruto just training with Orochimaru like he usually would, and Sasuke and Sakura learning chakra control, like advanced chakra control, since they have 1 week. They're not gonna be staying on water, but they're gonna try, trying to like stand on air. Now, I know this sounds a little complicated, but hey, I definitely think they could do it. Now, with the help of Naruto, they would definitely learn how to step on air, since he can easily fly. Talk about stepping on air. Now, after Naruto would teach them this, or Naruto and Kakashi would teach them this, they would basically, that would pretty much mark the end of the week. Naruto and the rest of Team 7 would head towards the bridge, like the next morning, or not Naruto, since he would have overslept. Naruto would wake up and he'd hear crashing noises and screaming, and he recognized this was the screaming of Inari. Now, he would quickly flash up with his sword and cut the two thugs off, like cut the heads of the two thugs off, like clean off. Now, after this, he'd say, oh, sorry about being late. After this, he'd basically just like dump the bodies in the river, since he doesn't want to, he doesn't want the bodies just to be sitting there. After this, he would then flash up towards the bridge. It would take him around 30 to 1 minute, and he would basically flash step, stopping one of like hundreds of basically Haku's senbons going at Sasuke. Now, Naruto would let Sasuke pretty much fight, and while he'll be like watching from far, looking for an opening, Sasuke would be fighting, and Naruto would see that Haku is not even trying. After this, Naruto would then flash step behind Haku before basically punching him in the head, sending him in like towards Sasuke. Sasuke would then do like a roundhouse kick before sending her flying into him. I bet sending him flying into like a rail, like a metal rail, or like guys, like on the bridge, there's like rails on the side. So she got sent flying into those. After she'd get mad, and then she'd pretty much do her one hand seals. God, one hand seals before using the Demonic Ice Mirror Jutsu. After this, Naruto and Sasuke would be trapped into this, and basically they would start doing combination jutsu like Fireball Jutsu and 10, Hado number 58 10 run, or they'll do Fire Style Majestic Destroyer Flame in Hado number 63 Raikaho, but for some reason the ice would keep regenerating. Naruto would then basically calculate the speed of the regeneration and realize he has to actually use his Shikai, you know. After this, Naruto would then raise his sword towards the Haku, or every Haku, and basically, towards the sky, or what would be the sky. And he'd say, raise over the frosted heavens, Yorimaru. After this, an ice dragon would come out from Naruto's sword, and Naruto's sword would transform into Shikai state. The ice dragon would head towards the ice mirror, and basically Naruto would say, use your fireball jutsu once the ice dragon hits the ice mirror. After this, Sasuke then used Fire Style and just destroy your flame after the ice dragon hit, which basically would take off half of it. Then, with the help of the Fireball Jutsu, it would completely melt that area. Naruto and Sasuke would escape, and they would teleport behind Haku before Naruto would basically slice her in half, or slice him in half. Now, after this, they would then hear the chirping of 1,000 birds, or what would feel like 1,000 birds, before Kakashi would then use the Raikiri on Zabuza, killing him. After Zabuza said something about Haku's usefulness running out, Kakashi would then summon his dogs, and his dogs would clamp down on Zabuza before Kakashi would then use the Raikiri, killing Zabuza. Gatsu's men would still come in canon, and yeah, that would be pretty much it. Naruto, Sasuke, and Kakashi would easily take down Gatsu's men with Kakashi using Raikiri, or just using a kunai, and Naruto would just use some low-level Kido, like Hado number 33, Soul Katsui, and he easily took down half of the men, while Sasuke just used a fire-style jutsu, burning all the others to death. Naruto then walked up to Gaara before basically slitting his head off, or slitting his throat. After this, like I do in my other what ifs, Naruto would pretty much take all of Gatsu's money, give him like 50% of it to the Land of the Waves, which was a lot of money. So they'd be pretty prosperous. After this, Naruto would then keep a percentage for his team and then percentage for himself. Now, after this, Naruto and the rest of his team would stay a few days, while Naruto would pretty much hunt animals and cook them for the village, and basically do anything, giving them ninja tips, just minor ones. He doesn't have enough time to teach them everything, and due to Naruto's kindness, they would actually name the bridge after him, the Great Naruto Bridge. Now, after this mission would take place, Team 7 would head towards the Konoha gates, and they would pretty much walk in. Naruto would then take a deep breath in and be like, I'm home, I guess. After this, Kakashi say, yeah, we are. Time to give a report to the Hokage. After this, they'd go up to the Hokage's tower, and they'd give a report for the air rank mission. They would then receive their air rank mission pay, and Team 7, like Kakashi would then tell Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura that he wants them to meet him at Training Ground 7 tomorrow morning because something important is about to happen. After this, he would pretty much body flicker out of view, and Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura would head home, basically going to sleep for the day, since they had a mission like all day. They kind of need some sleep. Now, after this, Naruto would pretty much sleep for the rest of the day, and he would wake up the next morning, and he'd realize, it's almost time for to meet up Kakashi. He would then pretty much put on his clothes, and he would head over to the store. Now Naruto has a pretty good money in his timeline, and he would walk up in the store to basically see a nice coat. Now this coat wouldn't have any markings; it would just be a nice white coat, like a long sleeve coat. Naruto would then ask the Weaver to basically be able to put number 10 on it and the sign of the crescent moon. Now, if you don't know why I'm actually putting number 10, it's because number 1, Toshiro, is the captain of Squad 10, and let's just say in this timeline, basically the number 10 is Naruto's favorite number, and he was born on October 10th. So after this, the Weaver would pretty much say that it would take her a few hours, and you could come back around 10 a.m. Naruto would say, "All right, I guess see you later." He would then pay for leaving a pretty good tip before heading towards the training ground. Naruto then get to the training ground, and Kakashi would start training them, and this pretty much just would mark the 2 week or the 1 week training for the Chunin exams. Sakura learning mastery over earth and water, and pretty much getting a little stronger using like taijutsu, being able to put chakra on her legs instead of just her fist, just being more adaptable in fighting. Sasuke would learn the 2 steps for the Chidori, and he only needs 1 step now. So he's almost like, he literally can make lightning, but he just can't do the jutsu. And even if you were to learn it the next day, you can only do 1 a day. Naruto would pretty much learn more of Orochimaru's techniques, and that would pretty much be it for the training. After the 2 weeks of training, Team 7 would be walking home, and then they would hear Konoha getting bullied, and they would look up to see sand ninjas. Naruto would say, "Put him down. You don't want to start a war just because you bumped into the 3rd Hokage's grandson." After this, Naruto would then add on, saying, "You can come up from the trees. You're not good at hiding your bloodlust." After this, Gaara would then come up from the tree and basically say, "Kankuro, put him down." Then you'd say, look towards Naruto and Sasuke and say, "What are your names?" Sasuke would say that he's Uchiha Sasuke. Naruto would say that he's Uzumaki Naruto. Gaara would say that he wants to kill them, or Shikage wants to kill them, or Mother wants to kill you. After this, they would basically, separate, or like Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura would head home, while these 3 would basically walk into the village since they just got there pretty much for the Chunin exams. Now after this, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura would head towards their houses, I guess, and they would pretty much rest for the night or the evening, since it was evenings when they finished training. Now the next morning, oh god, I'm pretty tired. I just woke up, but that's why I'm making this video. Now, the next morning, Naruto would wake up, and he'd pretty much go to that store and pick up his coat. And he was a little late, but the Weaver said that it was okay. Naruto would then pick up the coat before putting it on, and he would then wave goodbye to the Weaver, and then he would head towards the academy. Naruto would then flash up towards the academy, where it would take him around 5 minutes to get there. He would then be at the academy and walk in with his team. Like, you would see his team a little inside. He would reunite with his team after the night, and they would pretty much start walking in. Now they would see these 2 kids getting pushed back, or just given a hard time by the 2 Chunins by the door. So Naruto would then walk up to the Chunin and say, "Yay, we're all friends here." After this, he would then whisper in the Chunin's ear, "Take off that pathetic genjutsu. I can even sense it with my eyes closed." After this, he would put some ryatsu into his voice, making it seem more intimidating, and the guard would pretty much shit himself. So the guard would quickly, take off the genjutsu, and Team 7 would walk in. Now, Team 7 would sit down, or Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura would sit down, just like they usually would. Now, after this, I'd see a white-haired man or white-haired teenager in the corner of the room. Now, the pretty much, this would be Kabuto. Kabuto would basically start talking with Team 7, and he'd pretty much give them tips and tricks with the ninja cards. Now, Naruto would ask, can you do Gaara of the Sand and Orochimaru? Now, Kabuto would happily do it, and he'd show Orochimaru the asteroid criminal, who basically was accused of treason and experimenting on kids. After this, he showed the second card of Gaara of the Sand, basically saying that he completed 50 B rank missions and 1 A rank missions without getting a scratch on him. After this would pretty much, he would hand over the cards to Naruto, and he'd say, just put chalk on them whenever you want to see them, whenever we want to see a card. After this, Naruto would say, oh, all right, thank you. At this, he would sit down, and he would basically, Ibiki would come in, basically telling everyone to shut up and sit down, and he would basically start handing out the papers for the exam starting soon. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura would actually do the test, and they'd be pretty efficient at this, being able to being able to get high scores on it. After this, Naruto would finish the test, basically shattering the original record of Minato and Itachi's record. Now, after this, Naruto would turn in his test, and Ibiki would be pretty shocked, but he would look over the answers and say they're all right, even the 10th question. After this, Ibiki would then tell Naruto to sit down, and basically Ibiki would announce what the 10th question was. Basically saying if you answer the question and you get it wrong, you can never participate. But if you leave now, you'll be able to participate in the Chunin exams next year. Now, after this, a lot of teams would back out, or like a lot of division would happen in teams, since one member would be like, nah, I'm good, G, and the 2 members will actually want to, do the 10th question. So you need your actual 3 members to do the tuning exams, so it would be a little hard for teams to basically stay together. So this would cause a lot of forfeiting with the teams. Ibiki would then, once the other teams have left or forfeited, then say, the truth about the 10th question is, there is no 10th question. After this, everyone would gasp, and Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura would be the only one that's not surprised. Other people like Gaara wouldn't be surprised. Just anyone that's emo wouldn't be surprised. Now, after this, he would then explain to them about the purpose of the test to see if you have any willpower, or if you have high willpower. And he would start to explain the second part of the tuning exams, the force of death. Now, right when he would say the force of death, a lady named Anko Mitarashi would basically come through the window, kicking it open. Now, the glass shards would almost hit Ibiki, and Ibiki would basically say, like, can you just take the door? It's over there. You can just walk up the stairs, go up to the door, and turn the knob. You don't need to jump through the window. After this, Anko would pretty much say, Ibiki, you've gotten old. This many teams have passed. After this, she said, meet me at training ground number 44, and don't be late, or you're disqualified. After this, she would then body or figure, or basically turn into snakes. And Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura would pretty much head towards the training ground with Naruto via flash step, and Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura via body flicker. Now, once they get to the exam place, or training ground number 44, the other teams would start to catch up, and basically Anko would still throw a kunai at Naruto, but Naruto would be able to just use Bakudo number 81 Danku, but she wouldn't actually see the shield. So she it would just basically look like the kunai got stopped in midair. Now Orochimaru would be looking like this in disguise and see this boy might be strong. I might give him a curse mark. I want to take over his body, but just know that this guy's not gonna succeed. Now, after this, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura would sign the wager forms, so basically saying that if they die in the Chunin exams, it's not the Hidden Leaf's fault, since killing is allowed. Now, after this, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura would hear Anko basically say, you can go now, or starts after her explaining the rules about how, you can't have no food, you have 5 days to get to the tower, and you have one scroll and you need to get the other team's scroll. Now, once they'd get in, they'd basically run around in the forest trying to look for other people's scrolls. Now, they'd take down a lot of teams, but they would have pretty much the same scroll as them, the Earth scroll, and they need the Heavenly scroll. Now, after this, Naruto would say, "Yo, guys, I gotta take a leak." He would then go to basically piss, and he'd be in the middle of pretty much taking a leak, and somebody would be behind him, or he'd feel a presence behind him. Naruto would quickly zip up his fly before turning around and seeing a snake coming at him. Naruto would then activate Shikai really quick, and then basically put Ryatsu into his blade, basically swinging his blade, creating a wave of just ice, a Getsuga ice, pretty much a piercer of ice heavens, I guess you can say, instead of piercer of heavens, or Moonfang Moonfang piercer of heavens. Instead, it's called ice, ice wave piercer of ice heavens. I don't know, whatever you got. I don't know. Just basically an ice Getsuga Tensho. Now, this would pretty much slash the snake in half, but for some reason, the snake would poof. After Sasuke would be like a summoning snake, and there would be dread in the air. Naruto would then close his eyes and kind of use his Ryatsu to sense his surroundings. Kind of like using M, if you guys know from Hunter x Hunter. Basically, it's like a zone created with your Nen, and you can literally see anyone that's in it, even if they're using other Nen techniques to hide themselves. So Naruto would use a similar ability, and he'd be able to sense Orochimaru, or a grass ninja. And then after this, he'd say, "You can come out now." The grass ninja, or Orochimaru disguised as a grass ninja, would come out and basically use a wind-style great breakthrough. After this, Naruto would easily be able to block it with a Bakudo 81 Danku. So the wind would pretty much go past them, but it wouldn't actually hit them themselves. They hit them directly. God, my language. After this, Orochimaru would then charge towards Sasuke, but Sasuke would pretty much just body flicker behind Orochimaru, basically tying Orochimaru to the tree. Naruto would pretty much see Sasuke use a fireball jutsu connected to the ninja wire, and pretty much see Orochimaru burn up. Naruto would then feel like that person or whoever was still alive. And when they look up, they basically see Orochimaru taking off the disguise, and they'd see none other than Orochimaru. Naruto, basically seeing the ninja card that Kabuto gave him, would actually be pretty surprised why Orochimaru was here in the first place. Naruto would then body flicker behind Orochimaru before going to do a sword slash. Orochimaru would then get out his Kusanagi blade before clashing with him. Orochimaru would be surprised since the Kusanagi blade literally can cut anyone, or that's what he thought. It was the most powerful sword, and for this sword to block him, he would basically say how you must have a pretty good sword if you can block the Kusanagi blade or the Kusanagi sword. Orochimaru in the mindscape would pretty much be like, this sword is kind of weak, and he'd pretty much give Naruto all his power, or for Shikai, and Naruto would go Shikai. He would then send an ice dragon towards Orochimaru, and Orochimaru would be yet again surprised at Naruto's power. Orochimaru would go to bite Naruto's neck, but Naruto would just slash off his head. Orochimaru would just basically spit out his nether body, and he would then pretty much, go after Naruto. Now, he would pretty much start fighting with Naruto, but Naruto would easily clap him, and basically put his finger towards Orochimaru for using Bakudo number 61, Rikujo Kuro, and after this, he'd pretty much go slash his head off. But Orochimaru would turn to snakes and basically turn up and go behind Sasuke before biting him on the neck, giving him the curse mark. But right when he gave him the curse mark, right after, seconds later, Naruto would just slay him down, or cut him into pieces. After this, Orochimaru would just only be knocked out, since he can just revive himself into another person. Since this wasn't actually Orochimaru, this was a clone. So Naruto, Orochimaru, would be fine basically. I know I just went on a tangent, but I basically mean that Orochimaru was a clone, but not an actual clone, like a shadow clone, which was pretty weak, but actual strong version of a clone. So basically, they were fighting a weaker version of Orochimaru. So Naruto would realize this and realize that Orochimaru must be really strong, and if he was having trouble with just that version of Orochimaru, then Orochimaru himself would be pretty strong. Now they'd head over to the tower with the opposite scroll. Let's just say they found it from a random team, and they'd pass the second part of the Chunin exams. So there'd be no encounter with Zaku, Dosu, or Kin, and pretty much they would get in. Now they'd pretty much rest up in there, and the third part of the Chunin exams would start with Kabuto still squalling, forfeiting, and this would probably be the end of part 3 of What If Naruto Was Toshiro's Reincarnation. So we basically left off at the start of the verses part of the Chunin exams, or the third part. Now, without further ado, guys, I'll probably do part 4 tomorrow, or tomorrow, when even today. So, without further ado, guys, peace.